Welcome to Stuff and Whiskey. I'm Josh.
And I'm Erin.
And we're back with another totally blind head-to-head where we react to the pours and the price before we find out what we're drinking.
If it's available, is it worth the money?
If it's hard to find, is it worth the hype and the hunt?
Stay tuned to find out. Welcome to the channel, bringing a real-world perspective to the real-world whiskey consumer.
We are not professional whiskey tasters, but we will randomly select one of these matchups and taste them totally blind so that you get our completely honest opinions separate and apart from any labels or bias. You'll see what we think about each pour, and in the end, we'll give each pour what we call a real-world score, which is based on the blind tasting, the price and the availability, and whether we would buy it again or not.
If that sounds like your bag, then don't forget to subscribe so you can keep seeing videos like this.
Yep, we come out with these blind head-to-heads every Thursday here on the channel, and if you like blind head-to-heads and blind tastings like this, be sure to check the video description below for our Patreon link as well. We do blind flight nights over there where you can get a blind flight night and hop on a private live stream with us and do it together. It's also our community element online, and we have a lot of other fun stuff over there, including 2 additional episodes every week. The little uncut videos that we do, we have a ton of fun with those. Yeah. Everything here on the channel is blind for the most part, but over on the Patreon, we can take requests. If we get new bottles in that are exciting, we can do quick, timely reviews over there. It's a ton of fun, so check that out in the video description below. All right, let's run our randomizer and see which one of these 18 pairs we're tasting today.
7, lucky number 7.
Number 7, so 5, 6, 7. We'll get these poured and be back with our first impressions on glass 1 right after this. All right, let's get into glass 1. Cheers. Okay, nice, fruity, sweet.
Smells like bourbon.
Smells like bourbon. Very classic.
In a good way. I don't mean that in a bad way. Just
little ethanol-y, little alcohol-y.
Little bit, but not too much.
Yeah.
Like
it's
an appropriate amount.
An appropriate amount for the fact that we are literally drinking alcohol. Yeah. I mean, it's classic bourbon with the alcohol vapors mixed in there.
Correct. I'm gonna try it. Pretty light on taste.
Yeah.
But it's good. I'm trying to pick out something specific.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a second sip as well to wrap my head around what happened in the glass. I mean, again, classic bourbon with a little bit of alcohol ethanol coming across on the palate on that first sip.
I'm getting some light, like some oak. I'm not getting a ton, but it's a pleasant drink. Maybe getting some oak flavors, maybe, which is kind of like popsicle stick. That's kind of how I interpret it. So I've learned that when I get a popsicle stick flavor, that's oak. So now I'm sounding smart and I'm saying oak.
No, you're dead right. I mean, that's literally what I'm getting too.
Yeah.
It is the oak, the alcohol, but not in a sharp, abrasive way. Mm-hmm. It's just there. Mm-hmm. I could even go a little bit of banana bread on it. I feel like I'm getting a banana-y note.
Sure.
But I could be totally wrong on that as well. No. Like it's so faint. We try to, in these first impressions, really talk about what's the most forward in the glass. Mm-hmm. And for this glass 1, that is 100%. It's like a popsicle stick.
Yeah.
And I can't put my flavor on what was on the popsicle stick before it went away.
Yeah.
But it was
it grape? Was it cherry?
It
blue raspberry?
It's some fruit.
Heck if we know.
It's some fruity flavor with the popsicle stick. Let's get into glass 2.
All right.
Which, to be fair, I can't help but notice it's darker.
The color difference,
we typically don't pay attention to color or legs or anything like that in the glass, but glass 2 is significantly darker than glass 1.
It's hard not to notice it.
Yeah, that could be for a lot of different reasons, and we're not going to speculate on what it is. We're just going to tell you what we get in the glass.
It smells more. I don't know what it smells more like. Well, there's just more smell.
First nose, way more alcohol.
Yeah.
And not in a proofy way, but in a very alcohol-forward, aggressive way.
Yeah, I'm getting that, but there's maybe slightly rubber smell.
I was gonna say like rubber cement. If you like.
Yeah. Because that's kind of like an alcohol vapors. Yeah.
I can't think of anything that we own that smells like this. This is very strange. This is a curveball.
Let's try it.
I can't think of anything but rubber cement right now.
Tastes pretty good though. It's pretty balanced in flavors. I don't get a lot of any one thing, but it's good.
It's super balanced.
Yeah.
It's like dark fruit. Not heavy in volume. It's very balanced. It's very low.
I'm not getting spice.
Yeah. There's no spice.
I'm
in
not
this
really
glass.
even getting a ton of oak either. I'm getting just like...
This is wild. Like, I almost never get this, but this is coming across very raisiny, very plummy.
I was
like
going to say
that-
plum.
Like that
I was going
dark.
to say plum.
that
You said dark fruit, yeah.
That dark that dark flute profile. The dark fruit profile is coming across.
Mhm. Plum, but like not... It's not sweet though. I'm not getting sweetness, but it's like a plum that's not ripe yet, maybe?
I think it's
Because I'm not getting overly sweetified.
yeah.
Interesting.
That's what I'm getting in glass
Very
two. Yeah.
interesting.
We're gonna have to spend some time with these two
Yeah.
glasses. We're very confused. Par for the course around here.
This is what happens when you do blind tastings.
Yeah. We'll be back with our full thoughts after this. All right, after spending some time with these two pours, where you at? Let's start with glass one on the nose.
Okay, so for me, glass one was the brighter of the two on
Yeah.
the nose, but it gets a thumbs up on nose, thumbs up on flavor, thumbs up on experience. Like, I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
It opened up a little more as I was spending some time with it. It was overall very solid.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Glass one for me, thumbs up on the nose. I put butterscotch and apples, and it's very rare this happens, but I wrote brighter on glass one.
Mhm, I
and
did
I wrote
too.
darker on glass two. On the flavors, thumbs up, all that stuff. The butterscotch and apples carry over to the palate. It's quite enjoyable. And then on the experience, thumbs up.
Yeah.
I said it had a sweet oak finish. Like,
Okay.
that was kind of the foundation of the pour, and I really enjoyed that. So yeah, thumbs up across the board for glass one. Let's get into glass two.
Okay.
Where are you at?
So for me, glass two was a little darker, as you've already said, but it also gets thumbs up on nose, thumbs up on flavor, thumbs up on experience,
Yeah.
because it was really good. It was just a little darker version of really good. So
Yeah.
glass one was brighter, very good. Glass two, darker, very good.
Yeah. Again, for me, glass two, definitely darker. Thumbs up on the nose. I said plums, brown sugar, and caramel.
Mm.
That's what came across to me.
I have a note
Yeah.
on the plums.
Go.
May I say that? So to me, this one was like a plum that hadn't been fully ripened yet. So you didn't get the sweetness. Like, when a plum is fully ripe, you get super sweet. But when it's kind of not quite ripe, it's dark, kind of tart, but not cranberry tart. So it's like,
Yeah.
it was like a dark tartness.
Yeah. Like an
So-
emo cranberry.
Kind of like an emo cranberry
Yeah.
or an unripe plum.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
On the flavors for glass two, thumbs up. All that stuff carries over with the emo cranberry. I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then on the experience, thumbs up. I said raisins and oak on the experience. Like, when I think of experience, I think of what's the mouthfeel like, what's the finish like,
Okay.
and the mouthfeel wasn't anything to write home about. It was good, but it wasn't spectacular. But the flavors that hung around on the finish were raisins and oak, and I really like that. So thumbs up. These actually were kind of both thumbs up across the board for me.
Yeah.
They were for you as well.
Yep.
Did you have a preference?
I had a preference today for glass two,
Yeah.
just because I'm feeling the darker flavor profile.
Yeah.
However, that being said, if they're similar price points, I would be happy with either.
Yeah. Took the words out of my mouth. I couldn't have said it better. I prefer glass two today. Glass two is like a winter drink, and glass two is like a summer drink.
I mean,
to
glass one, it's like a summer drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glass two and glass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Glass two is a winter drink. Glass two is. Dadgummit, I did it again. What's wrong? Okay. Let's try again. Glass two is a winter drink,
Yes.
and glass one is a summer
Yes.
drink.
And I agree with
Yes.
that 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is encapsulating the entire experience of these two glasses.
Yep.
Let's find out what they are. All right, let's find out how much these cost first, and then find out what we've been drinking.
Okay.
So, glass one is number 22, and glass two is number 21.
Okay.
We both had a preference for glass two today,
Yes.
although it was close.
It was.
So, what's the price on glass one, number 22?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So glass one,
Number 22.
number 22, $30.
Okay. And the price on glass 2, number 21.
$100.
All right.
Oh my god.
Can I time out? We're not timing out on the video, but like glass 2 came across like Midwinter Night's Dram to me.
And is that the price it is?
It's $100. Yeah. It's a finished rye, and the more I sip these, the more they came across like rye. But there's not a wide gap.
Okay.
So
do you want me to click
hang
the
on.
thing and see what it is?
In a minute, but if this isn't Midwinter's Night's Dram, I'm gonna look like an absolute fool.
It's
but
fine.
if it is, I want you to know that the gap between these 2 glasses is not that wide. They're just different.
They're different.
But one
of
isn't
them
necessarily better than
maybe
the other.
slightly darker. One of them is slightly brighter.
Yeah.
But like we said, they're both really good. I think
Yeah.
we scored them exactly the same.
Yeah, we'll touch on this. But like
Okay.
the more I sip number 2, the more I was like, this is Midwinter's. But glass 1 isn't far off
Okay.
at all. It's just different. So, all right, glass number 1, number 22, our least preferred glass of these 2 by a slight margin because it's winter, and glass 1 is more like a summer pour.
Yeah. Rittenhouse Rye.
Wow, I've never gotten butterscotch on Rittenhouse.
Yeah. I don't remember much about Rittenhouse if I've
Wow.
had it before. I know I have, but I don't remember much.
All right,
It was good though.
glass number 21.
Midwinter's Night's Dram. Do we know what act it is? You didn't put it in there.
So the B-roll that you saw was probably Act 9, maybe? Because I traded away my Act 8, but this is Act 8
Okay.
in the matchup.
But what's funny is that both of us like Act 9 a little better than Act 8.
So Act 9 is more rye forward, and Act 8 is more port forward.
Which is why we put it against Rittenhouse Rye.
A little background here. Before the channel ever started, I did some test filming because before Stuff and Whiskey existed as Aaron and Josh, I was gonna.
It was just Josh.
It was just Josh
on Facebook.
Well, it was me on a Facebook group, our local Nashville Bourbon Social Club, and then I was gonna do YouTube, and I started to film, and I was like, "This is not gonna work with just me. I'm out. I'm out. This is not happening." And then you were like, "I'll sip whiskey with you. I like sipping whiskey with you."
Yeah.
But
You're fun to hang out with.
I did a test filming, and in that test filming,
I remember this.
it was Midwinter's Night's Dram, Act 8. It was Scene 2, by the way, Rittenhouse, Old Forester Rye, and Willet 4-year small batch. And in that flight, Willet came in last because it tastes like grass with vanilla extract dribbled over it. And then Old Forester came in third, and I actually was really surprised at the closeness of margin between a low rye like Rittenhouse and Midwinter's. Now, in that test filming that nobody's ever seen ever, Rittenhouse did come in second, and Midwinter's did win. And same tonight.
Same tonight for both
and
of us.
It's so wild that I'm saying that Midwinter's is a winter pour and Rittenhouse is a summer pour, and the gap isn't that wide. That's what I found out in that test filming as well.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
that's some like inside baseball background knowledge
Yeah.
that you're getting clued into. Needless to say, we put this into the blind sample pool because of a huge price and a huge availability disparity between these two.
Okay, I didn't know the availability disparity.
Oh, yeah, we'll get into that. So with that said, we need to talk about our retail and consumer metrics. Those
Okay.
are our real world metrics. When we say we're a real world channel for real, you say that part, so I don't know what she says.
Real world
because I don't listen to her.
perspective for the real world consumer.
That's
because
what she says.
your
Yeah.
money goes to buy this whiskey. So is it worth it?
Yeah. And I put preliminary marks that I would buy both of these again.
I would too.
But
yeah.
I'm not 2 thumbs up on either one of
Correct,
them.
yeah.
So with that said, let's get into our let's start with Rittenhouse retail.
Okay.
It's super readily available. It's $30. Are you buying Rittenhouse again, retail?
Heck yes. It gets 2 thumbs up.
On retail.
$30?
And readily available, 2 thumbs up.
And I don't have to wait in line or
No.
wait for a specific time. I can just walk in,
Yeah.
get it, and leave. Yes.
Yeah.
2
And
thumbs
then
up.
consumer, would you buy it again or not?
Yeah, I would. I do agree that it's more of like a summertime drink, so I wouldn't buy it all the time.
Okay.
So I'm
Like
just gonna
if-
give it 1 thumbs up.
That's fair.
But
Like if we run out, you're not rushing out the door to replace
I'm not
it.
rushing out to
Yeah.
replace it because I know it's available, but I'll get it probably the spring.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good for that. For me, 2 thumbs up on retail.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the price and availability you can't beat for Rittenhouse. And then would I buy it again or not? Thumbs up. Absolutely on the consumer score. It's a great rye.
Yeah.
It really is a great rye.
It didn't drink like a rye to me, and I love rye.
Yeah.
So
If
it's
you're-
a very light rye forward. It's not very rye forward.
Yeah, that's a great point. We'll get into that, into who these are for.
Okay.
But that's absolutely something we need to note. Let's move on to Midwinter's. This is Act 8, Scene 2 of 7, 8, and 9, which we had. This is the most port forward of the 3.
Can I do the general Midwinter's category?
Yeah, when we've had all 3 and you've had experience with all 3.
Because
so,
I have liked Act 9 better than Act 8.
Yeah.
I think Act 8 was like my least favorite, which is funny.
Act 8 was both of our least favorites. Act 7 was a little better than Act 8 for both of us, and Act 9 was our preferred.
Yeah.
So just for reference.
And it's expensive, but is it easy to get?
It's insanely hard to find.
Oh, it is?
It is insanely hard to find. It's a raffle item in the national market, and a lot of other like you might have to know when it's dropping at the liquor store to be able to show up at the right time.
How we had all 3 of these then?
The first and second one we got because of relationships, and the third one we got because of other relationships.
Wow.
So the first 2 were local liquor stores. The third was an out of state. And you know who you are. Thank you. We love Act 9. Act 9.
It's our favorite.
Act 9 would have blown the doors.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, would have blown the doors off Rittenhouse.
So getting back to it, retail score on just Midwinter's Night Dram in general, I'm gonna have to give it just okay. Even though I did prefer it to drink it.
Yeah.
The price and the non-availability of it does play a factor for me.
Yeah. It is hard to get in our market.
Yeah.
Really hard to get in our market. Would you buy it again? You walk into a store
I
and
would.
Midwinter's is
If it's
sitting
there.
for $100.
If it's there, it would be my special pour. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. I would buy it again. If I had the money, if I had the budget for it,
Yeah.
and it's there, and I'm like, hey, it's right there, I'm gonna buy it, especially if it was Act 9. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I would buy it.
Yeah. For me, I'm going to give it a thumbs down on a retail score. It's so hard to get in our market. Like, if it had not been for an out-of-state connection, we would not have gotten Act 9. And Act 9 is our favorite of the 3 for sure. But this is Act 8. I mean...
And even Act 8 is pretty good.
Yeah, it's no doubt. It's good. And 7 was better than 8, we thought. 9's better than both. But thumbs down. It's so much money. $100 is a lot of money to spend on a bottle of whiskey.
It is.
Even for a special pour. However, consumer score, would I buy it again if it's in front of me or not? Thumbs up. I'm going to buy Midwinter's every chance I get because I enjoy the experience and I enjoy sharing it with people who didn't get a chance to get their hands on it. But I'm not gonna cry myself to sleep if I can't get my hands on it.
Yeah, that's fair.
So this was super interesting.
Yeah.
Let's get into our real world scores.
We get our real world scores by adding up the thumbs you see on the screen.
There are 10 possible points, but this ain't William Shakespeare's 10-point scoring system.
No, it's more like a bell curve.
We found that through blind tastings that most things fall in the middle of that bell curve, and you really have to be exceptional in a few categories to get outside of that. So with that said, let's get into glass 1, Rittenhouse Rye. Where are you at on real world score?
Okay, so for me, it gets a 6 out of 10, which is in that middle point, but pretty high on that middle point.
Yeah.
Just because the price and availability helps it out a ton, and that's something that means a lot to me. Like, I factor that in pretty heavily. That's a very highly weighted factor for me.
Yeah, same. 6 out of 10 for me. We're right there.
Samesies.
I mean, I think that for the value and availability of what you're getting, value compared to quality is such a huge factor in our scoring system that Rittenhouse is a really high scoring product. With that said, let's move on to the slightly more controversial pour in Midwinter's.
So Midwinter's still solid. It gets a 4.5 out of 10.
Yep.
Just the price and the lack of availability hinders it.
Yeah. For me, it's a 4.0 out of 10. I think the important thing to note here is that it didn't come across as dramatically better than Rittenhouse. It was
They're different.
quite different, and they're
Yeah.
hard to compare, but it's not like Midwinter's completely blew our doors off.
We did prefer it.
And Rittenhouse was like wrung out like dish rag water.
Right.
These were both really, really good pours.
They were both good in their own right.
In different ways.
One darker, one brighter.
Yeah. And I would reach for one over the other depending on the season.
On the mood, yeah.
In December, I'm drinking Midwinters. In July, I'm drinking Rittenhouse.
Yep.
And I don't want the other one in the other season.
Yeah.
I just don't. As we say at the top of the episode, if it's available, is it worth the money? Rittenhouse, yes.
I would say so.
If it's hard to find, is it worth the hype and the hunt? Midwinters?
You know, as the cheapskate in the family, I would say it is if that's a flavor that you like.
Yeah.
And if that will be like a special bottle for you. Like
Yeah.
I can't be bothered to stand in line or to go like wait for things. So, but I would get it if it was available. If it was right there in front of me, I would get it.
Yeah. Same here. I mean, as we've already said, if this were Act 9, we think the margin would have been considerably wider.
Potentially.
And hopefully that is an indication that High West is heading in a really good direction with Midwinters, and Act 10 will be even better. These are two quite different pours in a sense in their flavor profile. So I would say that Rittenhouse Rye is a great intro rye if you love 90 to 100 proof bourbons and you want to dip your toes in the waters of rye.
Into rye, yeah. It's not very rye-ish.
Yeah. It's also a really great cocktail rye. So you can't go wrong with Rittenhouse in that sense. With that said, Midwinters, I wouldn't say it's for the bourbon hunter.
Really?
If you're just like, if you've tried Midwinters and you know you absolutely love it and you're going to chase the next release, go for it. Absolutely. It's a great pour. But if you're somebody who's never tried Midwinters and you think you need to like go crazy and pay $200+ for one, this is not that pour.
I will say, to be completely honest, the first time I ever tried Midwinters, I did not like it.
Yeah. And that was Act 7 and you were pretty underwhelmed.
I was pretty underwhelmed. Yeah.
It wasn't Act 9 really won you over.
Act 8, I liked Act 8, but Act 7, I was kind of like, eh. But also, I was very new in my journey, my whiskey journey. So I definitely wouldn't recommend Midwinters for a new whiskey person, like a whiskey drinker.
Yeah. I mean, the rye element, especially if you're primarily bourbon, because the rye element plus the finishing element.
I was already a rye girl. I was very new in my rye journey. I'd only had like Bullet.
Yeah.
And Midwinters was too much for me at that point. In my journey.
The finishing threw you off.
The finishing threw me off, but now it's not. But so it takes time.
Yeah, it's part of the process. When you're appreciating those nuances, that's when you can kind of get into Midwinters and really appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah.
But don't go out of your way to get it. Don't pay crazy amounts of money for it, I don't think.
If you don't know that you love it,
yeah,
I wouldn't go out of your way to get it. If you know you love it and it's worth it to you, then go for it.
That's it. She nailed it right on the head right there. I mean, let's drop the mic. Let's end the show. Thanks for watching. Till next week, guys. Cheers.